And we are live on Facebook. Yirtzeh Hashem next week on YouTube also, or next time on YouTube also, but right now on Facebook. Rabbi Lichter, Chazan Spinner, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Wonderful.
And we are
Good morning.
live on Facebook. Yeah, I think you have to lower that volume because we're hearing you. We're hearing you. So good. There you go. All right. So everybody, we hope those of you who have signed in, those of you who are watching, are curious about this new winter series. And actually, to be honest with you, we're curious as well as to how this is all going to play out. We had a session previously. I think you probably saw the trailer, in which we are convinced that we have successfully figured out 50% of the technology. Whether we get to the other 50% or not, I'm not sure. But we are here today, and we're here with you today. And just to tell you a little bit about how we got here, Rabbi Lichter, how did we get here?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. This has been quite a journey. So we are part of this wonderfully large Jewish community, and we love to borrow from other communities and see how other places are doing things and see how we can improve ourselves and just connect to other people in general. So one of those places is BRS, Boca Raton Synagogue, led by Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg and Rabbi Phil Maskowitz and Rabbi Josh Boyd, all three really incredible people. And they do something called BRS Live, or Behind the Bima, where they get together and they discuss certain things that are on their minds and what they're doing and what's interesting to them. And they'll invite speakers. And so we said, we can do this here as part of Great Neck Synagogue as well. And so with a shout out to them, Rabbi Palkov has contacted Rabbi Goldberg, and they've said, kol hakavod, it's working for us. We hope it works for you guys as well. And so that's where we find ourselves this morning, hoping that we can be successful just like they are.
Okay, so in Yirtzeh Hashem, we hope to be able to do that. We actually have a very special guest, actually two very special guests who will be joining us shortly, hopefully in Yirtzeh Hashem. We're not quite sure how it's going to work, but we'll see what happens. And that's
maybe they figured out the other 50%.
Yes, that is the other 50% that we need to try to figure out. By the way, for those of you who are watching, if you see us leaning one way or the other, it's because it's a little bit awkward for us.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. Are you drinking coffee with your left hand?
I don't even know anymore. It's very disorienting. We have to.
Right. You see, this is my right hand, but it's showing up on the left of my screen, and I think you're definitely seeing.
Hey, I got it.
There you go. Right. I don't know how that works. Okay. Anyway, Chazan Spinner, you showed the coffee cup. Rabbi Lichter, you have a coffee cup also?
Of course.
We all have a coffee cup with gratitude, Hakaras Hatov, to the Great Neck Synagogue blood drive, which is currently going on as we speak. We might even have some people who are at the blood drive who are watching us. And if you're there and you're watching us, so thanks for tuning in. A big yasher koach to David Rain and Michael Kohler, who put together this tremendous blood drive, especially given the craziness of COVID. They did it, and it's very successful, and they continue to do it. And I have to tell you, besides for saving a life, which you do when you give blood, you also get some of the best swag possible. So it's really great for that. And again, a yasher koach for the blood drive for these coffee mugs.
Mugs are great.
Speaking of coffee, Chazan Spinner, there is a rumor that you are a coffee expert. Is that true?
I don't know if I'm an expert as much as I'm an addict. But I'll take any title as long as it comes with a cup of caffeine. I'm happy. Okay,
so tell us, what do you drink to get through the day?
Usually what I drink is whatever gets me to the next cup of coffee. And that will change as the day goes on. Right now I'm having a double Americano, which is an Americano is a shot of espresso with hot water poured over it that brings it to the same volume as a cup of coffee. But because it's espresso and not a slow drip over coffee grinds, it's concentrated differently.
So it lasts longer, basically.
It's a bolder flavor. It's a much smoother flavor. It's great.
Okay, I do Taster's Choice Instant, which is
sure. It's not quite the same. Taster's Choice, if you have a compromised sense of taste and smell, then Taster's Choice is probably probably fabulous.
Yeah, that could be. That's what I'm used to. Although I do have to tell you that on the Poland trip, when we were zochet to be on that Poland trip, I did get a little bit of a taste for the.
How good was that?
Who was making it? What was his name again?
David's
assistant. I can't even remember his name.
We had a few people making it.
It worked out well. Worked out well. So that was very special. So anyway, do we know what we're calling this? What we're calling this winter series? I mean, BRS has a great name for it. BRS calls it Behind the Bima, which is really great. I have to be honest with you. I thought coffee with the Clay Kodesh was a great idea, but the truth is I got voted down. It's
a nice name. It's a nice name.
Yeah. You're just saying that.
It's just, listen, there are other catchy names out there that I think.
Like what?
Do you have a name? Do you have a name that
I've given this tremendous thought. I've run it by, certain family members that are over the age of 75, and they all seem to really enjoy it. GNS Plus. There are cable channels, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, these types of things. We'd be GNS Plus. You see us, our viewers see us every single day in shul. This is plus. This is in addition to that. And if you think about the word plus, this is the chap, right? Holocaust, Spinner, Lichter, missing you.
Puzzle.
Yeah, I don't think that's how you spell plus, but okay.
No, people, you have to be creative with it. The you are the viewers. It makes perfect sense.
You know what? I have a question. First of all, I didn't know you had cable television at home. I didn't know you had a television.
Yeah, I'm actually on this on my rotary phone. This is how.
But if we're gonna do that, hang on a second. If we're gonna do that and take the last names, go for the first names and call it DIY.
Okay. Wait, would you call it GNS DIY or just DIY?
Or maybe DIY GNS. I don't know.
What's DIY?
It's our first names. It's on your screen. See our first names? People don't know we have first names.
What is it for? What does it stand for? It's not plus.
It's not. It's
no. Do it yourself, which is basically what we're trying to do here with this program. Right, do it yourself. Maybe we could call it GNS DIY Plus, and we won't have room for anything else on the flyer.
Whatever we come up with, I think it should be the new code to our doors that people just love, that we change all the time. So that's.
Or we could ask the Mishulachim who come, because they seem to always know the codes.
They know it before we've said it. They know it.
Absolutely amazing. Anyway, so I think so we have a couple of suggestions. You're amazing. Chazan Spinner, you're amazing. We have a couple of suggestions as to the name for this program. So those of you who are watching on Facebook, by the way, Chazan Spinner, is anybody watching on Facebook?
Looks like we have 46 viewers on Facebook and one person right outside my window over here.
Okay. That must be Dan Horowitz.
It's not Dan Horowitz.
Okay, Dan Horowitz, if you're watching, we expect you outside one of our windows. Anyway, so at least we have some people watching on Facebook, which is very nice. So if you're watching on Facebook, Chazan Spinner, how do the comments show up here?
So on the right side of your screen, you'll see a tab called Public. And with that, we can see everything that's on there. We can see.
But how do people put something on there?
So on Facebook is a wonderful internet social media platform. And on Facebook, people can issue their own comments there. They can ask us questions. They can give us feedback. They can.
We actually do have some comments coming in.
We do. We have some comments about coffee.
And Andy Allen. Wow, Andy Allen, great to hear from you. Percolator is the best brew. Coffee brew.
It's a great brew. It's a great brew. It's a great way to make coffee. I'm more of an espresso fan. No offense.
Can I just show you guys something? I just pour.
No, you put it away.
I pour my coffee.
Is it away?
All right, bring him back. Did he lock himself out?
I locked it. I don't want to see that on screen. My morning.
Of course.
Amazing.
What's
wrong with that?
What room is that?
No, it's delicious, that coffee creamer, isn't it? It's just all fake. It's all
Yeah,
fake. Every ingredient in there you can't pronounce.
Yeah. Can you read us? Choose. Let's say the first 3 ingredients. I'd like to hear what's in there.
Delicious, water, and other stuff.
All right. Well, yeah.
Water, sugar, vegetable oil.
Wait a second.
Like my diet.
Is it parv?
What?
Like, this is the big question.
It's a whole shaila.
This is the big question that I have. I mean, it's OUD, isn't it?
It's OUD, but we know the OU puts OUD on things that they don't want people eating together with a meat meal, right? But they said
like what? Like, what's the most
anything that's made on
what's the most famous example of that?
There are many famous examples. What are you thinking of, Rabbi?
The most famous example.
Quickly, Google it quickly.
Oreo cookies. I know you guys don't eat Oreo cookies, but I do.
My vegetable oil precludes me from eating Oreo cookies.
Right? Oreo cookies are OUD, but we know that they're not dairy, right? They're just made on dairy equipment. So you're saying the same thing by that coffee creamer?
Yeah.
Wait, is every
made
coffee
on dairy
made is the same way?
All the coffee made. There are coffee that are not even made on.
So all of those chemicals are parv?
Sorry?
All of those chemicals are parv?
There are no chemicals in here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Joel Simon, you got it. Oreos. Thank you very much for posting on that. Anyway, Rabbi Lichter, I'm not sure I can eat in your house now. That's all parv. Are you sure?
What's all parv?
Baruch Hashem, Katie's in charge of the.
I don't think you can eat in my house, but what's all parv?
Katie's in charge of the kashrus, so I'm sure that we can eat there.
That's always the case.
If we're ever going to be able to eat in anyone's house ever again in Yirtzeh Hashem. But so why are we trying this ridiculous kind of programming, which seems to be garnering some appreciation from our viewers?
Because it's coffee.
Why? Yes, for the coffee, but why else? So I think because of the fact that people are tired of Zoom. Who's tired of Zoom? Raise your hand if you're tired of Zoom. Oops, wrong hand. Yes, I'm tired of Zoom. We're all tired of Zoom. So this is like a little bit of a different flavor than Zoom. And for those of you who want to know how you can get to this through Zoom, the answer, Chazan Spinner, is you can't. You can't get to this through Zoom because it is a completely different program. So if you want to watch us, how do you watch us? Either on the GNS Facebook Live page or Chazan Spinner. We have a surprise for next time.
So for next time, we'll be able to stream live to YouTube if people would prefer to watch on YouTube. Couldn't get it up and running for today, unfortunately, but this video after we, well, if you're watching this, then you're already watching it, but we'll be putting this up on the GNS YouTube channel. And next time in Yirtzeh Hashem, we should be able to stream as well simultaneously to our YouTube channel as well as this Facebook Live. So we'll be able to reach a wider audience and have more people engage in different ways.
Okay, awesome. We just got a message from the Lerners who.
I thought we were on Zoom.
Have you seen them? Have they signed in?
I don't see them.
You don't see them.
I don't see them. What do they say?
Let's see if we can get them again. I'll get them to try signing in. I just got a message from Jimmy Frisch, our executive director, who wants to know how to get in through Zoom because the link's not working. I don't know. Okay.
I'm going to try the link that we sent out by our emails. I'm going to try it on my phone. Let's see what happens.
You try it on your phone. By the way, that QR code, could you explain what a QR code is? I mean,
no, nobody can. It's magic. Nobody understands.
Harry Potter, how does it work?
Whoa, it's magic. Sorry, Chazan, I don't mean to take your job.
We're good.
Okay.
I don't know how a QR code works. You send it over. It just, I don't know. You shine your camera on it and somehow magic happens and it takes you to the right place. I can't understand.
So we have the learners who are trying to sign in again. Oh, wait, we actually have some names, some suggestions coming in for names. Natan Hammerman. What is Natan write?
Ooh.
Pargod. Good. How many of our Balabatim do you think will understand that reference? We have to put it in behind the curtain. I don't know. Achareha Pargod.
It's good. You know what I've been thinking about? That we actually see each other and talk to each other every single day. I don't know how many
Multiple
people in
times
my
a day.
life is like that.
Multiple times a day. Actually,
Correct.
multiple times a day. I see you guys and talk to you more than I talk to my wife, which it probably makes her happy. I'm not sure.
We should have the Rebbitzins on one time with us.
I think we definitely need to have the Rebbitzins. I think the Rebbitzins should be on without us.
I think viewership will increase drastically.
I think absolutely it will be amazing, right? Could you imagine what they'll say about us? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, but that's a great idea for the future. We should really think about doing something like that.
I got the Lerners.
We have the Lerners on. Let's bring the Lerners on. Mazel
Here we
tov.
go.
Let's bring the Lerners on. We're so excited for our first guests.
Oh,
Wow, Abby and Yaacov. Hello, Rabbi.
How are you?
Lerner.
so
Wonderful
good
to see you all.
So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. We're really grateful that you have agreed to be the first guests on our new winter series. And it's just
Wonderful.
amazing to see the both of you. You look absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
It's because I haven't worn a tie since we got here. It does wonders for you.
I'm really very jealous. It's nice to have you. Nice to have you on. Both of you look wonderful.
Thank you.
You really look wonderful, and we're really excited to have you. So
Thank
how
you so
is
much.
Aliyah? What's going on?
How is the Aliyah? The Aliyah has been very, very exciting on one level and very tedious on another level. We arrived on September 10th, and because the apartment that we had purchased needed a lot of renovation, it wasn't ready yet. And so we ended up going straight to Alon Shvut and being with our daughters, dividing our time between Shana and Judah and their family, and Zahava and Elichai and their family. And we were there until about 3.5 weeks ago.
Well,
And
both of them, live in houses.
Right, they're both
So Shana for Bidud has, where you would have a garage, Shana has a standalone apartment that has like a
complete
sitting area, bedroom, and bathroom. So that was like perfect. We were in Bidud for a few days, and that, till all our tests came back. And so that was perfect. And then Shana, made a bar mitzvah number 3. And so for that, we let Judah's parents be there. When we went, Zahava has a wonderful basement with a separate entrance. And so we stayed there.
So you had to be quarantined even though you both had COVID here?
Well, we had to be tested right before. We had to have a positive test. We had a negative. We needed a negative test within the week before we left. And then you needed another negative test when you got to Israel. Then you had to wait for those results. So it's about, 4 days? 4 days, 5 days.
No,
So we
it's
got
not like the 14 days. Anybody who comes now, right?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Right, Baruch.
Then one of the street minyanim is on the block where Shana lives. She's like diagonally opposite Rav Weitman, who is the Rav for Eir. He's also the Rav who gives the Hashgacha at Tenuva. And it was as convenient as you could find it falling out of bed. So on Shabbos, when there was a big crowd, so it was on the street, and the other days it was in his backyard. And so it was very easy to go to shul, very conducive to daven with the minyan.
Even in Bidud.
Right.
That's amazing. That's
so that worked out very good, very well.
I don't know if you hear. I don't know if you know, but that Governor Cuomo just nixed any gatherings in private homes greater than 10 in number. So we had a number of minyanim that got shut down this Shabbos. So
really?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
A little bit crazy. So tell us, what's the most unexpected thing that happened to you? Making Aliyah.
I'll let you do the frustration.
It's very, very difficult and almost incomprehensible to us that it was extraordinarily difficult for us to transfer money over from our accounts in America to get them into Bank HaPoalim. Almost every time that we had to, because we were having a lot of this renovation work done, as I had mentioned before, we had to pay for contractors and other people, services that were going on. And almost always they triggered an alert that it could be something that's not really on the up and up and stopped the transfer from going through. This went on for endless weeks, and we had to beg the different people to be patient. It's going to work out. In the end, of course, it did work out, but
it's really, people should know that it's horrible. You can't get your own money out.
And this is after making calls, I was told by my brother who made Aliyah back in 1986 to use Chase because it's like an international bank as opposed to a lot of the others. And so I used Chase. And with that, and with telling the people in Chase that I'm going to be in Israel, I had already established a relationship. I had my own special person as the banker. And calls that shut down the transfers. And so this went on for a long time, and it drove us crazy.
Very
it was so
patient
frustrating.
children.
Yeah, we had it all set up. We had the money ready to do everything we needed to do, to go ahead with whatever we needed to pay for. And they were getting upset at us, even though we told them it's not our fault. But, these guys work hard. They're not rich. They need their money. This is what they live on. And this was crazy.
Right.
It was such a disappointment at this stage in terms of, the way technology works and the way international banking works, that we couldn't believe that we couldn't get past it until a certain point. We finally were able to get over the hurdle.
Not sure we're finished yet, but whatever.
So is that the Israeli bureaucracy at its best?
It's America.
No, this all came from the American side.
All from American side.
It was all triggered by concerns from, I guess, whatever Chase has as its people monitoring things and worrying that there's something that might be illegal, not on the up and up.
So basically, you're telling us that we should take cash when we go.
So look, there are other kinds of ways to try to do it, but even those weren't. There's an organization that is really a business called ClearShift that tries to facilitate and makes a profit on it by taking a small amount of whatever their fee is. But even with ClearShift, they were sometimes questioning the legitimacy of it.
Like, you can't put it directly from your bank in New York to your bank in Israel. It there's a middle step. You need very patient children who are good to you, who sit and the computer for hours.
Without our kids, we would have been lost. We would have
Really?
been lost. We would have been able to go forward with the renovation and everything.
Bring a kid along.
They really took charge.
Or have a kid there.
Exactly. It's really important.
It was really.
They were very
They're
helpful.
so frustrating because it's your money, and they keep telling you can't get a hold of it.
Yeah. Definitely not Israel. It's not the Israel problem.
Not
It's the
Israel.
American
Amazing
problem.
that it's the
The
American.
American side, that they were worried that there was something fishy going on.
It's large
with
amounts
these
of
transfers.
money, whatever. It's fun.
So what are you guys doing all day long? You're having coffee, you're going out for a bagel. I mean, what are you doing all day long?
Life is very tough for us these days.
There's no going out because nothing's open. You can't sit in a restaurant.
You can order stuff, they can deliver to you, but there's no such. We have so many dear close friends that live right here in Katamon where we are. We haven't been able to really get together with them.
A little bit.
A little bit here and there.
You
but not as much.
Right, Ellen and Joey and Tushinsky have been here and they're leaving tomorrow, but thank God we're on a ground floor and we have a very big backyard that's ours. And so we had them outside and they sat outside with us for a long time. And Jerry Weinstein
is here visiting with his mother.
So everybody, we hear horror stories here in America about COVID and Israel. Is it really as bad as we hear?
We have not heard of any, and our kids have not heard right now of any cases here. In other words, where we live and in Ramat Eshkol and in Efrat and the Gush, we don't know personally of cases, but I do know now personally of cases in America.
It's much worse in America than it is here. It's gotten much better here.
Right. Thank God. Great neck.
Right now are extremely low compared to what has been.
Right.
Whereas in America, things seem to be just, going the other way.
Right. Rabbi Lifter, you were talking about how there's always some kind of grade closed or something like that we're getting emails from the academy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, all the schools here are always on alert of what's going to be.
Right. Well, the kids are in school through third grade here now.
But the older kids are not in school.
They are not all in school.
They're all on Zoom, And they're all going crazy from it.
It's hard. It's very hard. I don't need to tell you. You know, it's very hard for them.
So what are you guys doing during the day besides unpacking boxes? Are you working?
Oh God.
So there's a whole bunch of things. So firstly, I'm doing some Zooms for the shul. You know, they had asked me to. So I'm preparing shiurim. I'm learning on my own, reading a whole bunch of different kinds of things that I have time for. And we just went shopping today. We have
I know, a lot of shopping.
A lot of stuff to get for the apartment. That we
Just bought a car. We just brought home our
Oh,
car.
Yeah,
But that's a lot. That was the bank and the money and the dealership, and you know, that was a lot of steps.
What about coffee? Let's get to real tachlis here.
Hold on, just a second.
Well, this requires a demonstration.
Believe it or not, I'm not a coffee drinker.
Wait,
So-
it was
But Abby is. So,
Abby's the coffee drinker, huh?
right.
All right.
Rabbi Lerner, all those years in the rabbinate, you're not a coffee drinker?
This week, $29.90 shkalim. I said, go for it. It's my old coffee.
Coffee mate? You use coffee mate?
That's a big supermarket, which was quite a hassle to go through. We had like more than one shopping cart, I think, filled to the top.
Is there food that you missed?
Away from where we are in Rachel Imenu is Amrika M. So there's a grocery store there called Hamoshava, and it has almost anything that you could want.
At a very high price.
A very, very high price, but sometimes it's worth the saving of time. You go into these supermarkets, tell them the story about the checkout.
Did anybody hear our story yet?
I think
They
you sent it
had
out. You
very
sent it
high
out 4 years ago.
checkout. You can get your own scanner. You can scan your entire grocery order, including fruits that have to be weighed. And then you just put the cart on a little scale at the end, your big cart, and then it tallies up the cost in one shot and you pay it, except if you didn't scan by accident one item, somehow it can tell. And then you have to, as they say, mitparek et kol ha'agala. You have to take apart your entire shopping cart. We were not the only people, and
We'll never do that again.
we're done.
It's part of the Aliyah process, right?
Wow, that's amazing. That's just, listen, it's amazing, but I guess it's part of learning the ins and outs of Israeli society.
Yeah.
So
But I'm still teaching. I have a kala that I'm teaching on Zoom. So we're still doing that. I'm starting up one of my great neck chavrusas this week, which also keeps us
That's
busy. And personally, I must say that I'm very sad because when we were here for sabbatical, I was going to, I don't know, 1, 2, maybe 4 shiurim a week, some here, some in the gush. And, that's all stopped. That's all on Zoom. And, that's just not the same. It's, so that part of my life that I was looking forward to is not happening. And that's a little sad.
wow. Well, we hope that will ultimately catch up to everything else. Yimir Hashem.
We hope.
Rabbi Lerner, are you working on a book?
I already worked on a first volume of a book having to do with some key ideas of drashos. That was during the sabbatical year 3 years ago. And then, of course, when I came back, it was hit by the full force of all the work, plus then getting ready for the Aliyah. So I'm reconsidering whether I want to go forward with that. My daughter's suggesting some other ideas. Have to give it some thought, because to put in a lot of investment, and then, yeah, a lot of rabbis here, and a lot of retired rabbis here, and not so sure how much there is a market for it.
But you could sell it in America.
Yeah, it could sell in America. There's no question about it. Right.
I know a community I know a good community that will support it.
I had people actually going back a while ago who were pushing me to do it. We'll see.
Although I have to tell you, Rabbi Ismach and I still have some copies left over of our Tikkun Leil Shavuos.
Oh, gosh.
Which was great for the time, but we have a lot of paperweights left over. I mean, everybody can have like 3 in their library.
Right.
That's great.
Right.
That's amazing. But we do miss you. Rabbi Lerner, you and I had spoken pre-COVID, actually, about trying to find a time when you could come to Great Neck Synagogue. to sort of speak a little bit, because you guys are beloved across the community. And I know, unfortunately, it didn't work out. You just could have said no. You didn't have to create this whole thing, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. But you know what? Could you tell us what was Great Neck like when you first came to Great Neck?
Can I be honest?
Listen, that's the whole point of the program.
Different world. I have to tell you, I came out, and I was totally wet behind the ears. It's my first job, and the community at that point, was a very, 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 very different community. There wasn't, at least to my standards, and I don't think my standards were unusual. Let's say I would follow the OU standard kashrus, or the Bottom of Queens, which really tracked the OU. There wasn't a single hashgacha among either restaurants, butcher stores, right, that I was comfortable with, right? There wasn't a pizza store in town, right? When the first pizza store opened a few years later, it was so funny because he was coming from Main Street, where his brother had a store on Main Street, and he opened up, and everyone was so excited. Oh my God, Motzai Shabbos, we don't have to schlep all the way to Queens. We can just go down onto Middle Neck Road. He didn't open up. We came there, other people came there, a whole bunch of couples came there, and the store remained closed.
Saturday night.
On a Saturday night, it was supposed to be the biggest night, right? So at some point afterwards, I think on Monday, I went to him. I said, "What happened? How come you didn't come?" He said, What do you mean when I didn't come? I'm going to schlep out on a Saturday night all the way to Great Neck. So sure enough, he didn't do too well. And it took a long time till we finally got a store that worked. And it was a very, very long and tedious process till we were able to begin. The turning point from 1975 till 1979 was the overthrow of the Shah of Iran, right, by the Ayatollah Khomeini. And the fact that the people, right, enormous numbers of Persians who came with, as we know, a lot of wealth, many of them, they poured out because there was already a nucleus of a community that was in Great Neck. Some were part of the Great Neck Synagogue, like the Aryeh family, right? It was the mainstay of the synagogue. I always think about it, that Ralph Aliyah, I would almost always meet him at the mikveh at the Great Neck Synagogue on Erev Rosh Hashanah and Erev Yom HaKippurim, because we were probably two of the 7 or 8 people who were going there. Right? And he was such a tzaddik, right? But the fact that because they all got out and they were somewhat not so strong, but more into supporting the idea of having kosher places, it began to make a very serious change. And that's when we began to start getting a real change in terms of having establishments that, reliable. And, I remember, insisting that it should be under the Varabonum of Queens, if they would ask me. And I think that was the beginning of a change where people began to think of Great Neck as a more viable community.
I was thinking back. We take it for granted that we walk to shul on Shabbos, you're going to just run into 1 million people as you're walking to shul on Shabbos back and forth. And I really thought hard about this. And I remember going to shul on Shabbos, and you basically saw no one walking to shul. So that if you saw like one person, it was like, oh my gosh, there was somebody walking to shul on Shabbos. And it was so exciting, like to run into one person. It was such a different experience. I remember as that started to change, you could just sort of run into people, like, groups of people walking back and forth. And we take that for granted now, but I can remember feeling that there was nobody. You walked to shul all by yourself. You got to shul, and there were people there, but you didn't see people in the street.
What about sukkahs? Were there people? Did people have sukkot then, or?
Very few. There were very, very,
I
very
think
few.
Rabbi Wolf really
Wolf
helped that a lot.
I remember Sam Afsif's had, And
The Coulters.
the Coulters were one of the earliest families that had a sukkah. Right.
Just,
Mom-
Rabbi Lerner, I just want to correct you. That's not Mark Coulter who's watching. There were different Coulters.
Right,
That's
Diane, Diane and
Diane
Herbie
and Herbie
Coulter.
Coulter. Correct.
Right, so they would have an open sukkah, and of course the Langs and the
Yeah.
Kupelds.
Right.
But I think that was what we understood. That was the reason initially why the North Shore Hebrew Academy was open during Chol HaMoed Sukkahs, so that the kids would have the experience of sitting in a sukkah, because it was not common.
Correct.
And great.
I remember that also. I remember
Yeah,
that
they
also.
said that all the time in those early years. That's
Was
why.
Was Ari's the first kosher place in Great Neck?
No, the pizza store was the first. But Ari's, I think, may have been second.
It may have been down by the train station, and then Mazon was there for a little while.
I remember Mazon was on Middle Neck Road for a little while.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But they thought that they could charge Great Neck prices in Queens and
Right.
from Queens, and it didn't quite work out, I think.
Yeah, it did not sit well with people.
I think Ari actually just retired, if I'm
Oh, really?
Really?
if I'm correct. That Rabbi Lichter.
Ari and Avi, right? They were in the Young Israel Hillcrest for so many years.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, sure. He was
With
the
Avi, right.
He was the caterer there.
Yeah.
Rabbi Lichter, what's your connection to the Young Israel Hillcrest?
He was like
A Rebbitzin par excellence, Barakasha. Beautiful family.
Yeah, I remember.
Ari and Avi were great. They're great. They did.
Right, and then
they catered our
then-
Vort, our Shever Brachos. They did everything.
Yeah, they're amazing. But Rabbi Lerner, if I remember correctly, where Limelight is now, wasn't there
Yeah.
supposed to be a kosher place there? I remember you and I had something to do with that.
yes, we're trying. I forgot what was it going to be.
Who was the person who was going to put it together? Doesn't live in Great Neck anymore.
I don't remember.
I'm trying
I have
to.
no
yeah,
recollection of that whatsoever.
I'm trying to remember who that was.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm for some reason I don't remember the name either.
Mhm.
I'm thinking Saul, but I don't know if that's if
No
that's
memory of that.
if that was the name.
You know,
But I think
one of the major turning points, and he deserves all the credit for this, was when Larry Schiffman, on his own, took the bull by its horns and decided to take the initiative to put up an Eruv. And Larry, incredible scholar, involved with, teaching at NYU and a million books that he's written and so on. He and Donnie single-handedly, right, went, surveyed the entire area around, and it was pretty large even at the beginning, going all the way down to East Shore Road and so on, Community Drive, and they did the legwork. They didn't hire people. They didn't raise money. They went and put up the lechis and made sure that there was going to be an Eruv, because they were convinced that would begin to attract young families with little kids who they have to wheel baby carriages or carry them. And it really did make a very big difference. And we felt it very poignantly, because that was just when Shana.
So Shana, we had friends, and they had a baby, and I remember that Yaacov and I, in the afternoon, we went to babysit for them so that they could go take a walk together, because there was no Eruv yet.
What year was the Eruv? What year was the Eruv first put up?
It must be like when Shana was born. Shana's 41.
Shana was in 1979.
79.
Must be just
Right.
around then.
And this was, I think, a little before then.
Yeah.
When Shana was born, it was already functioning.
So you should know that nothing much has changed, because it still is hard to raise money for the Eruv now as it was back then. We still, but Jerry Weinstein does a great job in helping to do that. And in fact, Rabbi Ismach and Jerry and I just had a call talk about funding for the Eruv. So people are watching this know that we need the funding for an Eruv. It's a great thing.
Absolutely. You can't have a viable Orthodox community with young couples if you don't have an Eruv.
We have an answer coming into our trivia question. The answer is Saul Quinn.
Saul Quinn, right? He was the one.
Really?
Very nice. Who sent that in, Chazen Spinner?
It looks like Aaron Zuckerman sent that in.
Oh, wow.
That is so
Florida.
funny. Aaron's also not in Great Neck now.
Right, Aaron. Aaron's in Florida. Aaron, are you in Florida?
Correct.
You're in Florida, right?
That's the beauty of these programs is we get to
That's
engage.
amazing.
Right.
Guys, it's all back together. We can't escape.
So all my friends live in Israel invited for gone now. So
That's it. Yeah, he lives in Bayit Vagan. Amazing.
Yeah.
If I recall the story correctly, he wanted to have like takeout, and we were concerned that if he opened up a big place with takeout, Ari would go out of business. And so the VOD said no, or he said no, he couldn't do it without takeout. And then there was a fire in Ari's, and then we lost everything. Those were the good old days.
Wow.
Or certainly a little bit of history for Great Neck. So
I tell everybody here that in the early days, there was no such thing as going to Kew Garden Hills without running into at least 3 Great Neck people. One time I said, I'm going to count. You never, ever went to Kew Gardens Hills without meeting people because Brock's was there, the supermarket was there, and the butcher was there, and the pizza stores, and there was always somebody from Great Neck walking along Main Street that you ran into. Never happened. Never did it.
I think we're a little bit spoiled these days, actually.
Baruch Hashem.
I think we're a little bit spoiled. And Baruch Hashem, we're really, now we've made it to the map because we even have Hatzalah. So
Thank God.
That's a tremendous contribution.
So Baruch Hashem, and especially now they have just been incredible. A real shout out to Hatzalah for what they do in our community.
Wow.
Yeah, really amazing. Really. So Rabbi Lerner, I want to ask you a personal question.
Yes.
Do you wear a tie to shul on Shabbos, at least?
I am wearing a tie. I wear my regular garb, the way I would normally dress. I don't know. It's the way I've been trained at Kavod Shabbos, Malbushim, right, and so on. And I'm one of the very, very few.
Where do you daven on Shabbos?
So, right close to us is the Ramban shul, where Benny Lau had been the rabbi, but
right.
When I had the sabbatical, he already told me back then, I'm not long for this place, he says to me. Right? I have other plans. I have more big dreams than this. So sure enough, he could have stayed on, but he had other plans.
So we have a question coming in for you. Have you seen Rabbi White since they made Aliyah?
Yes. So actually, I don't know if I saw Rabbi White, but I've seen Miriam actually came by our apartment with the little baby, and we've been in touch with them in lies. We spoke to Rabbi White or texted with him, and they're living in an apartment right near the girls' school, TVA, Torah V'Avoda, Yehuda Saif, and Miriam tells me she's not ready yet. I don't know about Rabbi White. They're also drowning and getting into things, but she's already gone into the school. There are some central graduates there, and she's already gone in, and they've already asked her to do some stuff. So, we're very much in touch.
When you see them, please send our best regards from everyone in the community. And I don't know if you heard, Rabbi Jensen is making Aliyah this summer.
We had heard this. We were very interested in that. Is this a sudden decision? What have you talking about it?
I think it's always something that he wanted to do, and something that Oksana wanted to do, and then sometimes you get into Great Neck and you get settled in Great Neck, and I think COVID just has so disrupted all of our lives that I will tell you that I've written more letters of Jewish identity for people in the last 6 months than I have in the last 10 years. It's just it's an amazing thing. So I think
experience before I left. I think a lot of it had to do with the upcoming presidential election, which I don't want to get into, but whatever. People are very nervous about a lot of anti-Semitism that's erupting, and nervous about the different forces. It's not.
I did get such a call. I got a call from someone who said, I can't live in America anywhere. Please write a letter. I'm moving to Israel.
Yeah. Okay. I said to a lot of people, is that what it's about? And they said, yes.
Right.
People I had never expected would be talking about making Aliyah. So I don't know if it's going to materialize, but there definitely were a lot of people who I wrote letters for.
Right. It's amazing. Hopefully they'll be coming. Hopefully we'll all be coming.
God willing, we're ready to host you. I want to get one thing which hasn't come up. We've spent our lives as grandparents, living very far away from our children and thinking that this is normal. And, we would talk to the kids several times a day, and they would come in very significant visits. And what we consider now to be unusual we realize, this is how everybody lives. We get pop-ins, Erev Shabbos. Hi, just came to say good Shabbos. We ran over for...
So like driving in from Malone Shvut.
Right, that's 25 minutes. It's like going to West Hempstead.
Shabbos.
It's like going to West Hempstead, and we went to Hudi and Ramat Eshkol. Erev on Shabbos, it started at like 4:10. We went to just say happy birthday to her oldest on Friday for 45 minutes.
Wow.
So I called after Shabbos and said, "You doing anything? Can we just come over?" So that's been a wonderful, experience, having the kids around and
We had 3 young grandchildren sleeping on the floor in our living room because of the boxes in the other bedrooms. Brought sleeping bags. We're here with us, and we just had a wonderful
brought
time.
their devices, Zoomed, to school the next morning.
Nothing beats this.
That's amazing. So a shout out to all of your kids. How's Sefi doing here in America still?
She's good. She's very busy because she's doing infectious disease pediatrics. So she's very, very busy.
For the FDA.
Yes.
With all of
Can you get her to fix this thing for us?
Her children go to Berman, where another family just started sending their family. And so that, that's always interesting, arriving at the same time as some of those other children.
We'll see if they stay in Berman after
that
January inauguration.
So I think she's doing better than she expected to be doing.
But she's making Aliyah when she's done, isn't she?
She's finishing a fellowship at the FDA. It's the end of 3 years, and then she's going to come. She thought she might stay on longer, but then she decided, no, it's the right time. It's the right, good, best thing for the kids before they get a little bit older. And so, Mi'etz Hashem, we will have all of them together.
God willing.
Mi'etz Hashem. So we're really grateful that you took this time. I know it's probably dinner hour for you guys. We're really grateful that you took this time. Any final message to all the people who are watching? Chazan Spinner, what are our numbers?
It's kind of hard to tell, actually, because I only see a metric here directly from the Great Neck Synagogue page, but a number of people have shared it to their own platforms, so it's kind of hard to tell, but it's a very healthy number. Let's just
very good. Any messages, Rabbi Yaacov and Abby Lerner? Any messages for
even though we're having an amazing experience here and we could not be happier and there's no regrets about this decision, we still have a tremendous amount of love for Great Neck. And we miss it a lot. And, contractually, I was supposed to come back at least 3 times a year. And we're waiting for this craziness to go away so that we can go back and reestablish the wonderful relationships. Great Neck has been such an incredible part of our lives and our children's lives, and they love it also. And so we're just waiting for the point when we can reinforce all the amazing years.
Got us.
Yes.
Do you have 1 second? Hold on.
Definitely.
Just so you'll know.
Oops.
It's okay.
Right. This was a total big surprise, right? They presented to us shortly before we were going to be coming.
Now hanging, right? Can they hear me? Hanging on our wall is the painting that our children got for us.
A commission.
Wow.
So you should know.
The exact replica of our house on Essex Road.
It's like 770.
We should have our roots. Isn't that crazy?
Very sweet.
That is crazy, but an awesome gift.
They love Great Neck also, and they still do. They really, really do. It's a really special community, and we should never stop, realizing how much we are lucky to have.
Well, we wish you both the very best. We look forward to seeing you walking in Great Neck on the street, but we look forward even more, Mi'etz Hashem, to bumping into you on Emek Rephaim.
We look forward to hosting you here.
We're only a block away. You can't be there and not come.
Okay, thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of the day.
Okay. Thank you. Be well, all of you.
Be well.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So great to see you.
That was
so
really
good.
nice. Just nice to see them, nice to speak to them. They look great. They really look great.
That's what
They
Eretz
look
Yisrael
younger.
does.
They look younger, Rabbi Lichter. I don't know. They look younger. I don't know.
Well, Rabbi Lerner's got that hair going on. I don't know. No.
Yirtz Hashem. Yirtz Hashem. Yeah, just amazing. Listen, I haven't seen any good suggestions for names coming in. Have you guys seen anything?
I think people are just, texting me privately, just telling me how much they love GNS Plus.
All right, good. Something for us to consider. So, Rabbi Lichter, what's next on our agenda?
I think we're gonna do another one come Hanukkah time.
Okay, do we have a guest yet?
Where everything's in the works. I think we're looking to have a little bit of a commentator on the election and what's going to be, and how Israel works into the election, and I think we'll get some interesting discussion from that.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward. We're going to publicize it, right? Chazan Spinner, you're going to make another one of those amazing flyers with a QR code.
A QR code, QR magic. We'll stream it live to YouTube as well.
Baruch Hashem.
And, yeah, we'll try
So
to.
I want to thank everyone who tuned in, everybody who watched. You can share this with your friends, and it will be available for replay on the Great Neck Synagogue Facebook page. Is that the correct thing to say, Chazan Spinner? Did I say that correctly?
Close enough.
All right, close enough. It will be available to watch on the Great Neck Synagogue Facebook page. Remember, if you have Zoom, it doesn't help you watch us. So
it's a great program, but this is I think this is better for what we're trying to accomplish.
yes, 100%, 100%.
And the cameras are still reversed, so that also works.
Crazy. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to go to a chiropractor. Your chiropractor in White Plains.
Not reverse that one.
Right. All right. Anyway, so by the way, I think we have to work on our backgrounds, because somebody said if you looked at the Lerner's background, it was all Sfarim, and you look at our backgrounds, and not quite the same. But
I've got Svarim back there.
I have virtual
that bencher back there.
Oh, the bench? That's a very special bencher.
What kind of bencher is that?
It's a very special bencher.
Good eyes, Rabbi.
Oh, yeah. I rescued this from the Geniza.
The Cairo Geniza?
No, a more local Geniza. This is, well, I can't even center. Prayers, blessings, and hymns from a wedding reception of someone who I don't know. But what I thought was amazing about it is I opened it up to see who put this together. Let's see if you recognize the name in there. Do you recognize that name?
You know what? You get to be my age. Put that up again.
I'm going to be very disappointed if you don't know that name.
Brecher?
Yes. Really? That doesn't mean anything to you? Oh, this is so disappointing.
Related to our former intern, Rabbi Michael Brecher?
No. Look, this is Chaim Mordechai Brecher. You
Okay,
don't know?
fill us in. Don't keep us in suspense anymore. Fill us in. Fill us in.
This is going to be an offline education that we're going to have to have here.
Okay.
Please, someone in the comments, please tell me that you know who Chaim Mordechai Brecher is. I'm going to be so disappointed if no one else.
Okay, wait a second. This is something that Feldschreiber should know. Is Feldschreiber on? I don't know.
Feldschreiber for sure knows who Chaim Mordechai Brecher is.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
All right, we'll see.
He's a very important person in Jewish history.
Rabbi Lichter's doing a quick Google search. But you have to, Rabbi, you have to put in Chaim Mordechai Brecher,
Chaim Mordechai. Thank you, Joel Simon. Thank you.
Okay, Joel got it. All right, Baruch Hashem. All right, guys. Anything else for today? We're good?
Looking forward to next time. Looking forward to my next cup of coffee. This one is drained already. We're gonna go.
Me too. Everyone have a safe day, a great day, and please send in your comments and your questions about kosher coffee creamer to Rabbi Lichter.
And your name suggestions. We need a name.
And we do need a name. Great. Everybody have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye. How about you? Bye-bye. This way. Okay.